Hello and welcome back. In this video, we're going to finish the second part of week 1 handout. So let's continue on page 10. So on this page, we talk about the do and don't in terms of timing. So you know that when you're giving a presentation, you should start on time. You should plan how long you're going to speak and don't labels on a particular point. And also, if possible, don't digress and finish on time. In terms of voice, you should project your voice properly and use a microphone if you know that you have soft voice, and also speak in a natural tone of voice. Below is the exercise. People here do not follow the advice above, so they have a problem when they're giving a presentation. So the first problem is, why is he yelling like that? The room is not that big. So this person has a problem with. The answer is with projecting his voice. He doesn't know how to project his voice. He doesn't know how loud his voice is. So he decided to shout instead of talking in a natural tone of voice. Next, he's already said that 3 times. He talked about the same thing over and over for 3 times. So which advice did he didn't follow? The answer is C. Don't spend too long on something. Move on. Next, I don't know. I know that there are people who want to ask questions and there won't be time. This person has a problem with time management because he cannot finish on time. So the answer is E. And next, he really droning on. There's no life in his voice and everyone asleep. The problem with this presenter, the speaker, is he doesn't speak in a natural tone of voice. He speaks in a monotone. That's why it sounds really boring and then everyone is falling asleep. Next, the sound of his breath is really annoying. The sound of his breath in the microphone is really annoying. The problem with this presenter is that he put the microphone too close to his mouth, so everything, whatever he said, the microphone will pick up. Next, I don't see what this has got to do with what he's trying to say. So the problem with this presenter is that he digress. He talk about things that have nothing to do with the presentation. And then get on with it. If people turn up late, that's the problem. So this presenter, this speaker has a problem with time management also. So start on time. Don't wait for the latecomer. So here is the exercise for page 10. Let's move on to page 11 with the signposting. So you know that when you're giving a presentation, you need signposting sentences to give you a signal, to give the audience a signal of whether you are going to introduce the new subject, the new topic, or when you finish one subject and you would like to move on to another topic. And also, you can use signposting sentence to give a summary or give a conclusion. So below here is another listening exercise. I have asked you to listen to the introduction part of the presentation and fill in the missing words. So here is the answer key. Okay, I think I'm going to start now. This is also another signposting sentence that the speaker say when he's ready to start. And then this is followed by, good morning everyone, and welcoming the audience. Today, I'd like to talk about ecotourism. So the topic of today is ecotourism. There are 4 parts to my lecture. First of all, this word in the highlight is how to structure the presentation. First, you're going to talk about the definition of the term ecotourism, and I will explain the principle. So this is the first topic. Secondly, I will give you an examples of real ecotourism. So this is the second topic. In the third part, I will give you some figures about the financial impact of the green tourism. And finally, I will conclude my lecture. So this is the introduction part of the presentation. And next is another listening exercise. I have asked you to listen to the signposting sentence and fill the missing words. So here is the answer key for the signposting sentence. First, in these sections, I will discuss the importance of tourism for the economy. In this section is introducing the new topic, saying that what are you going to talk about? And then Going back to the first point about the employment of local people, the phrase here, going back to the first point, refer to the previous topic that the speaker has already said. He already mentioned about it, but now he would like to go back and talk about it more. Next, this leads me to the third part of my talk. And then number 4, I'm going to turn to the subject of money brought into the country. Both sentences here use when you would like to start another topic. And then the last one, let's think about. When you say let's think about, you actually want the audience to think about something. And this will be followed by the topic that you would like the audience to think about. Let's think about the disadvantage of tourism. Next exercise, we actually have done that in the video, which I asked you to fill in the supporting sentences for each part of the presentation. So we're going to skip that. Next, I have asked you to look at different sentences and put them into the correct category. So there are 4 categories. The first one is summarizing the main point. Second one, recommending and suggesting something. Next, signaling the end of your presentation, and then inviting question. So here are the answer keys. First, summarizing the main point. You can use the following sentences when you would like to summarize the main point. First, I will just summarize the 3 different options. Before I stop, let me go through my main points again. Just to summarize the main points of my talk, or to sum up. So the phrase like I was like summarize, go to my main point. To sum up is when you would like to give a summary or give a summary of the main point. Next, recommending or suggest something. When you give a presentation after you have done some research, you might have something you would like to suggest or recommend to your company or to your university. You can use the following sentences. We suggest the company to. In my opinion, we should, and then follow what follow is what you would like the company to do. We therefore recommend that we, what I would like to suggest is, follow this is your suggestion. Next, signaling the end of the presentations. So this is the sentence that you can say when you about to finish the topic, when you indicate the end of your talk. So you would say something like, thank you all for listening. Okay, I think that's everything I wanted to say. And well, this brings me to the end of my talk. And after you signal the end of your presentation, you're going to invite a question from the audience. So you would say something like, now, I will be happy to answer any question you may have. We just have time for a few questions. And are there any questions? Next part is closings and questions. So these are example sentences that you can use to end your presentation and question. So now we're going to do the exercise together. So imagine yourself in the following situations and how you're going to say in each situation. First, when someone asks you a question but you don't understand a question. So in this case, you can ask them to say again or rephrase the question. So you could say, I'm sorry, I didn't understand your questions, or I'm sorry, I did not follow your question. So when the person who asks you a question hear that, he or she might rephrase the question or explain it a little bit more so that it will make you understand the question better. Next, you can't answer a question because the information is confidential. So it's a secret. So even if you know the answer, but you can't give it away. So you would say something like, I'm sorry, but I can't give you that information. It's confidential. Make sure that you give a reason to tell the people who ask this question that it's confidential. It's a secret. You can't share it with anyone. Next, when you're ready to answer a question, you can say, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them now. Or you could say something as simple as, are there any questions? Next, you want someone to say the question again in case that the people who ask the question really quickly. So you would like them to say that again. So you can say, could you repeat the questions? Next, you don't know the answer. When someone asks you a question and you don't know the answer, what should you do? You have to be honest. You have to admit it. So you just say something like, I'm afraid I don't know the answer to your question. And then, but I will try to find out for you. But then you offer to find the answer for that person. This answer could also be used to next situation. You want to find information and answer a question later. So that means you might not know the answer, but you offer to find out the information for the person who asked you. So you can say, I'm afraid I don't know the answer to your question, but I will try to find out for you. And then you can ask the contact detail of that person. And then when you give the answer, when you have an answer, you can contact them and give the answer. Next is, this is the last exercise. I have asked you to rearrange the presentation into the correct order. So this presentation comes with introduction part, main part, and the conclusion part, but it's not in order. So your task is to rearrange it, and here is the answer key. First, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is from Lampang Ratchapat University. It is my pleasure to be here and talk to you about e-learning. So in these sentences, we have welcoming the audience, introducing yourselves, and talk about your topic. So this person is going to talk about e-learning. And then I have divided my presentation into 3 parts. This sentence is used to outline, to structure the presentation. So you said there will be 3 parts in your presentation. First, you would like to talk about the meaning of e-learning. And then you will talk about the components of e-learning. And finally, you will talk about the benefits of e-learning. Next is, let me start with the definition of e-learning. So this sentence, let me start with, is a signposting to the audience that you're about to start the first topic of your presentation, which is the definition of e-learning. So the listener know that they're going to hear the definition of e-learning. So there are 2 definitions of e-learning. First, e-learning is the employment of technology to aid and enhance learning. And next, e-learning is the deliveries of a learning, training, or education program. Blah, blah, blah. So next sentences. Now, I would like to move on to my second topic. This is another signposting sentence to tell the audience that you're going to move on to another topic. You have finished your first part, so you're going to move on to the second part of your presentation, which is the component of e-learning. And then the audience will know that they're going to hear about the component of e-learning. Once you finish that, you're going to move on to the final part. The last topic I would like to discuss is the benefits of e-learning. So this will be your last topic. And after you talk about the last topic, you're going to move on to conclusion before you end your presentation. So in conclusion, and this followed by the signal that you're about to end your presentation. So you say, I have come to the end of my presentation. And then you invite questions from the audience. Now I'm happy to answer any question that you may have. So that's it. This is the end of week 1 channel. See you in the next video and thank you.